Welcome back. I hope you had an enjoyable summer. Coming up in the programme, are Wales' public and private sectors institutionally ageist? And speaking of age, what of the First Minister, Rhodri Morgan's plans to step down around the time of his 70th birthday this month? Mark Hannaby reporting there, and we'll stay with healthcare issues now, but we'll take a leap across the pond. After a torrid summer, President Barack Obama has come out swinging on health reform in the United States. His timetable for cross-party agreement had slipped even before the summer recess, and then in August, the NHS took centre stage as opponents of reform raised the spectres of healthcare rationing and socialised medicine. But with 46 million Americans uninsured and a system that's currently the most expensive in the world, supporters of reform have been urging the President to bang heads together for some time now. Well, Denis Campbell is the editor of the UK Progressive e-magazine, and Jonathan Evans is a former Conservative MEP who used to chair the European Parliament's liaison committee with the US Congress. Gentlemen, welcome to the programme.
Good morning.
Dennis, I suppose of particular interest to us in Wales, the birthplace of the NHS, will be the extent of President Obama's commitment or otherwise to a public option in these reforms. Do you think he will abandon that?
Well, it's hard to tell. One of the sayings in the United States is there are two things you don't want to see being made. One of them is legislation, the other is sausages. And in this particular case, with the current health bill, there are currently 5 different versions of the bill. The one that is expected out of the Senate committee this week will probably not have a public option, and it's looking as though anything that resembles a single-payer public option is in very, very desperate straits, simply because of all of the furore that has been raised by the far right.
In terms of what this has done, Jonathan, in terms of focusing the debate over here as we've been watching it taking place, it has, I suppose, made us think about different models of healthcare provision and what works well and what doesn't. There are different approaches, of course, right around Europe on that.
I think it's very important to start this debate by saying the main distinction, of course, between ourselves and the United States is universal provision. Here we've got the universal public provision. In the United States of America, yes, if you're covered by insurance at the very top of the tree, you get very, very good care. But the two sections of the population who are not so well covered are the very poor, not covered by insurance at all. Let's not give the impression they don't get health care. They do get some, but it's at the lowest level, if you like. And then, which I think has stimulated the debate in the States, the people who are regarded as the US middle class, people who have cover through insurance because they're in employment, but who with rising unemployment now fear that they're going to see those options taken away. And that's why I think you're seeing this huge furore. I think that there are parallels for our debate here, but it's important that we make the point that nobody in the UK is proposing the end of universal provision.
No, indeed. In terms, though, of other models of giving universal healthcare coverage, several European countries do use an insurance-based model for doing that, don't they?
Yes, and I think that it's important, if you look at one of the most successful, in my view, France, for instance, if you look at the overall level of their investment in healthcare, it's significantly greater than the level of investment that we've got here in the UK, even allowing for all of the money that the Labour Party have genuinely put into health over the course of more recent years. That's why I think it's important we illustrate the point that in the debate for the next general election, my party, David Cameron's party, has said we're not going to see that level of expenditure fall, notwithstanding the fact that there are great pressures on public expenditure. And it's not because we don't care about inefficiency or waste. Those things are important, of course, but at the same time, the overall level of provision here in this country still falls behind the level of provision in France.
And you will be fighting in that general election, of course, and I'm sure we'll be having much longer debates about all of that in the months to come. In terms, though, Dennis, of the attitudes in the United States, President Obama does seem to have been losing the arguments, if the polls are to be believed, over the course of the last few months. Why has the tide turned against him on that?
Well, I think part of the problem is that President Obama didn't come out very clearly. He's a man of consensus building, and what he tried to do from the very start, coming from the United States Senate, which is a very deliberative body to begin with, he said, I'm going to allow the Congress to decide what should be in there, and that probably was his first tactical error. He should have at least said, these are the things that I would like to see happen. I want to see coverage for all. I want to see it be affordable. I don't want to see people having to, file for bankruptcy, in essence, because they can't afford health care. I don't want them to go without. And he never said that and put those down as a marker until just the speech on Thursday evening before the joint session of Congress. So he's really lost a lot of momentum, but also on the other side you have a very, very strong right-wing, almost fanatical, crazed group of people who have come out with totally unsubstantiated claims saying he's going to pull the plug on grandma, he's going to ration care. Well, of course, care is rationed now, depending on your ability to pay. And it just got completely out of control. The debate was lost.
I think the thing that's going to help Obama most of all, actually, is that extreme comment. I mean, on the chat shows, on the most extreme cable programs, it's perfectly clear that ridiculous things are being said. And remember, in this debate in the Congress, it'll all turn on what happens with what we used to call Reagan Democrats, what in the parlance is called blue dog Democrats, centrist people who are worried about this reform because they are concerned about what's called the American middle class. I think that those people will have been turned off by the more extreme arguments. And so whilst the extremists have a lot of attention, that's going to help Obama.
Very briefly, Denis, what would it mean for the Obama presidency if he fails to get this reform through?
Well, it's obviously something that he has said is very important for his presidency. I don't think it's as huge an issue as everybody in the media and the punditry would like it to be. I mean, he's clearly going to get a bill. And in that bill, people will be covered. In that bill, there will be no exclusions. In that bill, there will be some things that will happen that cover everybody.
Gentlemen, thanks very much for talking to us this afternoon. We're very grateful to you.